Coming up, arguments about Trump's right to delegate authority to DOGE. Democrats still cannot get their message straight. AOC could get herself into serious trouble with the law, and Al Sharpton has no clue on US history. First up, we have Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, on Musk's authority with DOGE.
You know, the meltdown, as Steve described it, Kaylee, is amusing. Because presidents have broad authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to govern and control agencies and departments in the executive branch, how much money is spent, hiring, firing, auditing for fraud, waste, and abuse. So Trump is exercising a core responsibility. He's serving the public's interest. That's his solemn duty. The legal question becomes, can he delegate that power to Musk and DOGE? Democrats who have sued say, oh, you can't do that. He wasn't Senate confirmed under the Appointments Clause. That's nonsense. There's a large body of law that says the president absolutely can, on his own, without the Senate, confer administrative powers to others like DOGE. So these early setbacks in various lower courts, that was expected. Trump knew that, liberals would go running and crying to favorable judges. Oh, gee whiz, he's stopping our fraud and waste. We want that to continue.
Jarrett points out that presidents have got a great deal of latitude to do things, including delegating administrative powers. Unlike appointees that have specific authority conferred on them by Congress, hence the need for confirmation hearings, that is not the case here. Musk is acting in an advisory role. He has no ability to make policy. What he is doing is looking at the books, just as IRS agents have the authority to look at your books. But just like the IRS cannot make tax policy, neither has Musk the authority to make policy either. The books that Musk is looking at are the government department books, where widespread waste, fraud and abuse has already been found. This is why the Democrats want it stopped. Andy McCarthy also talks about the issues associated with this.
The country.
So he said a lot of things there. A dangerous person, going to do harm to the people I govern. Is he right or wrong in this case, Andy?
No, he's completely wrong. I mean, I understand they're upset that they lost the election, but Trump is the executive branch. And when I say that, what I mean is, as a matter of constitutional law, all of the executive power, which means all of the power wielded by these executive agencies, is the president's power, and the president can designate officials of the executive branch, which Elon Musk, whether they like it or not, now is one, to scrutinize records, to say
Trump is head of the executive branch. As such, he has the power to delegate, regardless of the position of disgruntled Democrats. If you enjoy this content, please like, share and subscribe. He continues.
The president runs the executive branch, and if he has designated Elon Musk as a special government employee, DOGE, actually, whether they like it or not, they keep calling it the so-called DOGE. It's a component of the executive office of the president in the White House. It's actually a refinement of something that was started under President Obama. And they have the authority from the only person they need it from, which is the president.
As McCarthy points out, and I have mentioned before, DOGE is a continuation of an office that was introduced under Obama, even if in modified form. DOGE is a component of the president's executive office. But that does not stop the desperate, flailing Democrats from trying to oppose absolutely anything that has Trump's name on it. Then we have ex-RNC chair Michael Steele getting apoplectic.
To see somebody wake the hell up and get excited about the fact that your country is under assault, They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn. So that's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
Steele goes completely off script, or the script of a reasonable individual anyway. He should know that Musk and DOGE are not looking into individuals' details. He is blatantly lying, I guess because MSNBC gave this relevance-deprived person a platform and he felt he had to give them what they wanted. And mainstream media wonders why they're increasingly irrelevant. It's because they're pushing an agenda and a party as opposed to reporting news. Then we have Reince Priebus, ex-Trump chief of staff, to bring some perspective on the Democrat cause.
Well, Donald Trump's going to change it.
I think it's worse than that. The Democrats have found themselves on the wrong side of normal. And in spite of all the challenges that Donald Trump had, court cases, all the ups, the American people have said, that's more, I identify more with Donald Trump than I do with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They're on the wrong side of all these cultural issues, and until they get that straight, and I sort of agree more with what you're saying, is that populism of the left has a chance. Progressivism on the left is dead.
Priebus makes the point that despite all of Trump's tribulations, which many people would thought of Trump having no chance at all of winning the election, the reality is that this would probably have been the case in most instances with the normal Democrat Party. The Democrats were so way out on everything that they were not seen as representing America's needs. So Trump was elected, and the Democrats are still struggling for relevance. On to Donna Brazil, previous DNC chair.
I think the Democrats' brand is really bad, and I think this was an election based on culture. I think the majority of the party realizes that the ideological purity of some of the groups is a recipe for disaster, and that candidly the attack on over-the-top wokeism was a valid attack.
Does the senator from Virginia have a point?
Well, he's up for re-election next year, but first in Virginia, but there's a major election that will take place this year for governor of the state of Virginia. Look, the two of us can sit back and give you just a laundry list of things that we hope the Democratic Party will begin to do. The first thing is they need to have a forensic analysis of what happened so that they can build back stronger, quicker, faster. But the bottom line is nobody wants a party that whines. Nobody wants a party that's just in opposition.
Senator Warner, a Democrat, makes the point that the party went way too far and they were overly woke. Brazil makes the point that the Democrats need to figure out who they are. They should not just be a party of whingers, which is essentially what they are at the moment. She has a clearer message than any of the elected Democrats that are in Congress and what they have said as yet. Then we have current DNC chair, Ken Martin.
Well, what I would say is this. 66% of Americans believe that Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk are not doing enough to actually bring down prices. That's really what's impacting the majority of Americans in this country right now, and that's where they want to see this administration put their focus.
Martin states that most Americans don't think that Trump is doing enough on inflation. Amazing. Trump has been in office for less than a month, and during the election campaign, we had the Democrats telling us the economy was going great. Nothing to see here. They are unbelievably hypocritical. Trump has done more in 3 weeks than Biden did in his entire term. Inflation was horrible under Biden, and then they think that Trump should have magically fixed it in 3 weeks, when according to them, in the very recent past, it was a non-existent problem. Where were you then? Then we have Trump himself on this issue.
Egg prices have reached an all-time high.
It was a long, before I ever got here, it was at an all-time. This didn't, remember, I've been here for 3 weeks. And when you saw the inflation numbers, I've been here for 3 weeks. I have had nothing to do with inflation. This was caused by Biden. I had 4 years of virtually no inflation. So I'm just taking over. But I'll tell you what, this country has made more progress in the last 3 weeks than it's made in the last 4 years. And we're respected again as a country. Thank you very much.
Not too much to add here, other than to highlight the economic performance under Trump's previous term and contrast it with Biden's abysmal economic performance. 3 weeks is not enough to measure any changes that have been made and will soon be made and will feed through into the economy. Then we have Democrat Hakeem Jeffries struggling for Democrat relevance.
But Donald Trump's favorability rating is actually higher than it ever was the first time around. Let me ask you, a recent poll by Marquette looked at several of the things that he has done or says that he is going to do, and 63% favor federal government's recognition of only 2 sexes, 60% favor deporting immigrants who entered the United States illegally, 60% favor expanding oil and gas production, 59% favor declaring an emergency at the southern border. Is there anything you are seeing that Trump is doing that you are in favor of, that you think is the right thing?
Let me say, as it relates to all of those issues, we're just at the beginning.
So, in answer to a question of whether he thinks that anything that Trump has done has been right, all he can say is that Democrats are right at the beginning. This is Jeffrey's Kamala Harris moment, who you may remember when asked if she could think of anything that the Biden administration had done that should have been done differently, answered, no, can't think so. In this case, he can't think of anything that Trump has done that is right. What is clear here is that they don't care about the American people. It is just everything the Democrats do and stand for is good, and everything that Trump stands for and does is bad. The Democrats are in for a long time out of office with this mindset. Jeffries continues.
With respect to immigration, listen, we have to secure the border. We have a broken immigration system, and we need to fix it in a comprehensive and bipartisan way. At the same period of time, as Democrats, we're going to protect dreamers, protect farm workers, and protect families who help our communities across the country thrive.
So, once again, without a moment of introspection, Jeffrey says that immigration needs to be fixed. Wasn't he saying the opposite mere months ago, along with all the Democrats regarding immigration? Once again, nothing to see here. This is what people hate about politics and why they like Trump. At least Trump calls it exactly as he sees it. Trump may not be polished, but if Jeffries is an example of polished, it is no wonder America has had enough. Then we have Tom Homan on AOC.
Title 8, United States Code 1324, United States. Title 8, United States Code 1324 and 25. That's what she needs to read, because it's illegal to enter this country. It's a crime to enter this country illegally. Not only that, when you harbor and conceal and impede law enforcement, that's a felony. So what she's doing, she says she's educating them as to the constitutional rights, and we all know they got constitutional rights. But what she's really doing, you and I and the rest of the country knows, she's trying to teach them how to evade law enforcement. Now, I just said, well, out of the gate, we're concentrating on public safety threats, national security threats. So she's educating those in the country illegally with a significant criminal conviction, public safety threat. Don't open your door. Don't dot the I's. Here's how you invade law enforcement. Let's hope she's not educating the next person who gets out and murders a young college student in Georgia.
Homan points out that AOC could become a felon herself with what she is doing with illegal aliens. At present, she is skirting a very fine line, given her advocacy. If she does what an education union member did recently and instruct illegal aliens on how to avoid being arrested by ICE, then she will have stepped over the line and potentially be criminally charged. AOC never has been too bright. Speaking of someone who is not too sharp.
One day our children's children will read American history. And can you imagine our reading that James Madison or Thomas Jefferson tried to overthrow the government so they could stay in power? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at American history.
Just after Margaret Brennan proved how utterly uninformed she is on history, here we have Al Sharpton doing the same. Anyone would think he had never studied the history of the founding of the United States. Don't they teach these leftists anything? Or do they just not remember what they have been taught? James Madison and Thomas Jefferson overthrowing the government? What does Sharpton think that the American War of Independence was all about? As I said, Sharpton ain't sharp. What do you think of the Democrats' lack of strategic direction and flailing about at present? Please let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.